Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rewriting Leclerc's Legacy. And yeah, if you did not see the previous episodes, make sure you go watch them first, then come back to this one. If you have, then you'll know that last episode we got a huge win in Verstappen's home country at his home Grand Prix, taking 25 points. And I think Verstappen ended up getting P8, so he only took home 4 points. And it was a huge weekend for us. And we've closed that gap now down to 33 points, which is much more doable with 7 races to go. You can see the constructors as well is around, I think, 81 points. We can also close that down as well. You know, 7 races. If Carlos Sainz can pull his weight, then we can get that gap closed. You can see now we are actually the 4th fastest team. McLaren has jumped us. I think it's Mercedes is the fastest somehow. Then you got Red Bull, McLaren, and us. But we're all pretty close to one another. So really, anybody can take it. And I guess it will depend on the track. I think we've got decent straight line speed in our car, so Monza shouldn't be too bad for us as we cross the line. And we're actually P8 and our teammate was P7. You can see we're not even in the top 14 for Q1, but we finished P15. I saw ourselves in P8. We were like 6 tenths ahead of like P10. I'm like, oh, it's going to be comfortable. Don't even need to go out for a second run. And we were about a tenth or two from getting knocked out into Q1, which would have been absolutely tragic, and we would have had to start from the back of the grid pretty much and work our way through to damage limitation. But we need to win races, so it was big that we got through there. And into Q2, you can see it started raining at the start of the session. We managed to get a soft lap in. A bunch of people went out on the inters as well. I think the way to go was to go on the inters, but it got too wet towards the end of the session to improve, so we managed to stay P9 thankfully, as if it was still into weather we could have been knocked out. But we got through in P9 and we just got out quick enough for the soft run, because by the end of that soft lap, it was pretty tragic and we were sliding all over the place. So we got into Q3. That's the main target. Once you get into Q3, then you can send it a little more and you can take a bit more risks. And we're currently P1, but that P1 means absolutely nothing because we did that in the inters when it was wet. And now it's all about this final lap as everybody is improving. But you can see, if you look at the bottom left, they all went out at pretty much the exact same time. And they were kind of holding each other up. We went out at the very end, and we've got so much clear air as we went a bit wide there, but we got so much clear air. With the last one on the track, we're going to get the best track conditions. Realistically, this should be an easy pole position in Monza, as we're about a second up on our time, and we're finding grip. We're finding more and more grip as the lap goes on, and it's pretty much bone dry at this point. We've got so much grip. Pretty much running it like a dry lap around the last few corners. And as we come up to the line, it was a purple sector 2. And I tell you what, it's going to be a purple sector 3 and a purple lap as we put it on pole position by half a second. Going out as the last one out of the pits by about half a lap proved to be crucial as we put it on pole. Hamilton P2 with Verstappen starting on the second row with our teammate Carlos Sainz. So Hamilton doing the job. He's going to help us off the start. Or is he? No, he's not. Verstappen up in the P2 as Hamilton has taken a penalty. So nice one, Lewis. You've helped us out there. As Carlos Sainz into P3, Ricciardo P4, Russell P5, Alonso P6. The Alpines have looked pretty quick as well. So the Alpine and McLarens pretty much matching our pace almost. So if this was in real life, this would be pretty nice.
This is the team's home race. We're all relying on you to impress today.
There's going to be a lot of pressure from the fans and the team to get a big result here in Monza. If we can win, the fans will love it. If we can get a 1-2, that will be even better. We are going to go with a mediums to hards strategy. I mean, the second option there is medium hards. When would you ever do that? I mean, if it was medium softs, at least that'll make more sense. But no, they want me to go medium hards. But we're going to go mediums to hards anyway. We want to start on the mediums, get a good start, and try and hold on to that pole position for as long as possible. Because if we let Verstappen pass, he's probably going to be quicker than us. He was quicker than us in qualifying, at least in Q1. And the only reason why we got ahead of him was because the track was improving towards the very end. As it's 5 red lights, and away we go. We were pointing towards the inside to try and cover off Max Verstappen off the start. We get a decent enough start. Are we going to cover off the inside? Verstappen, he's going to look for a move down the inside. He's found a little gap. So Verstappen down the inside. We're going to break as late as possible. possible around the outside to hold on to that P1? Yes, we do. George Russell is up in a P3. He's got ahead of Carlos Sainz, and around Curva Grande we go. Charles Leclerc leads with Verstappen in P2. He's going to try and make a move at the second chicane. Verstappen, he's going to go down the inside of Charles Leclerc. Verstappen takes the lead. We can't fight it. We try and look for another move, but Verstappen holds on for now. George Russell is right behind us. He's looking for a move down the inside. We have to give him room. The last thing we need is to be spun out or pushed wide by the Mercedes driver, and we're fighting with George Russell, which is allowing Verstappen to pull away. He's got a 1.3 second gap already. That is absolutely crucial for the Red Bull driver. And Sergio Perez, the other Red Bull driver, has a bit of wing damage. He got it on lap 1, so he's going to be coming into the pits. Not the start that Perez had in mind, so that's good news for us, especially if we're fighting for that Constructors title. How exactly did he do it? On the run down to the first chicane, oh, he hits the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. He just doesn't brake soon enough, so that's a poor mistake from Sergio Perez. But that's fantastic news for us, because in the Constructors, if he doesn't score any points, that is huge, especially if Verstappen is P1. But we have managed to stay in his DRS, and you can see I've used pretty much all of my ERS to do it. Russell has dropped behind, same with Sainz, so it could be a 1v1 battle against Max Verstappen. I mean, what a battle this is going to be if it's like this, because I'm telling you, I am pushing with all my might. We're down to 20% ERS, and we're only just about staying in the DRS. We can't even get close enough to make an overtake. That's how quick Verstappen is right now around here. But we are pushing, and we are staying with him. And the longer we stay with him, the more of a chance we have. All it takes is one really, really solid lap from me, and we can get close enough to make that move on Verstappen. As Sainz is all over the back of George Russell. He actually looks for a move at the end of the straight there on Russell. If Sainz can get up, and we can get a double podium here in Monza, that would be special, especially if we get P1. We need at least a P1. A P2 and a P3 wouldn't do it. We want P1 over Verstappen, as Sainz does make that move on George Russell. So Sainz now up into P3. We're into P2 with Verstappen. Sainz has gone wide. So Russell's back through. And I'll tell you what, he's going to have a margin over him here. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. That's a big enough margin. Sainz will not be getting DRS. And Russell, he can actually maybe pull away from Carlos Sainz. As finally, on lap 10, we're close enough to now go for a move on Verstappen. Verstappen comes off the inside. We're going to go late on the brakes around the outside, just like we did on the opening lap. We do it again to Max Verstappen. Up in a P1 we go. Verstappen is going to look to have another run at us around Curva Grande. Can he have a go at us down into Della Roggia once again? Or are we going to cover it off this time? No, he's not close enough. Verstappen's going to have to settle down for P2. We've finally got past Verstappen. And the main reason we wanted to get past Verstappen was so we could be ahead of him when we come into the pits. Because I do struggle on cold tyres. The AI seem to be a lot quicker than me when we go on to after the pit stops on that opening laps, because the tyres are very, very cold, as we almost actually break the pit limiter. Thank God we didn't. But we come on lap 14, or it was end of lap 13 at the start of lap 14. Same with Verstappen. So Verstappen follows us in. Same with George Russell. Same with Carlos Sainz. I think he got held up a little bit as we were leaving. But we hold on to that P1 for now. Bunch of people coming in. Everybody onto the hards. And I tell you what, 14 laps. We have not been separated by Max Verstappen by more than a second, other than that opening lap or two. So pretty much, we've been within a second of Verstappen the whole time, or he's been within a second of us. And it's been some fantastic racing, as once again, we've got Verstappen all over the back of us, and we're still trying to warm up our tyres. We are struggling to warm up these tyres. I did put the tyre pressures down a little bit, so maybe it's taken a little bit longer, and Verstappen's managed to get him warmer a little bit quicker as he goes through. But we're going to get DRS down this next straight, so that's why we've kind of let him through there. Now we can use the DRS and go straight back through if we can get a good enough exit. We're using all our ERS. We do not want to allow Verstappen to pull away from us. If he pulls away from us, we're in big, big trouble, and we're going to have to settle for P2 and lose 7 or 8 points to Verstappen as we go for a move around the outside. Verstappen holds it down the inside. Oh, he gets on the curb a little bit, and we hit him once. We hit him twice. That's twice we've hit Max Verstappen now at that corner. We don't get any wing damage, thankfully. I don't know how we've not got any wing damage, because we hit him pretty hard the first time. The second time, not so much. But so we have a look. The first time he actually I think he hits the inside curb a little bit and goes really, really slow. And then the second time, he loses the rear, which makes him go slow again. And that's why we've hit him the second time. But thankfully, no wing damage, and we can keep going. If we get wing damage, I think we fall out of that DRS and Max Verstappen runs away with it. But we're still fighting with the Red Bull. This is a huge race in the championship. If we can win this, the points difference drops down to, I think, 26 points, 25 points if we got fastest lap as well. So this is a huge race, and if Max Verstappen wins it, it goes back up to 41 points, and we've only got 6 races to chop that down, as now we look for a move on Verstappen, look for a move on the inside, but now we're going to go around the outside. Can we get the move done this time? Yes, we can. We've done it around the outside once again. I think we always need to do it around the outside. That seems to be the place to do it. But Max Verstappen is not going to make it easy, as he's in our slipstream. He's trying to get a run down into the chicane. We're going to cover off the inside. We're not going to make the same mistake we made on that opening lap, as we're side by side with the Red Bull. But with that inside line, we're able to hold on to P1. Verstappen has to settle for P2 for now, but with over 7 laps still remaining, this is going to be a spicy 7 laps. As I tell you what, George Russell is actually closing on in. He's P3. There's only 2 seconds until he's within Verstappen's DRS. Russell is not out of it just yet, and he's now closing in even more. 1.5 seconds to Verstappen.
DRS, you will not be able to open the rear wing. We're working on a fix. Stay out for now.
We have more problems than just Verstappen and George Russell. We have a DRS issue. That makes it even more important to try and hold on to P1. If we drop that back down into P2, we will not have DRS to stay with Verstappen, which means we might lose out to George Russell as well. So on the run down to the first chicane, we used up our ERS, making sure we have the distance ahead of Verstappen so he can't make a lunge, but he's going to. Verstappen, late on the brakes, he's hit us. The championship rivals have collided. We just about keep going. I don't know if Verstappen has damage. I think we're okay, but Verstappen takes the race lead, and Russell is all over the back of us as we look for another move now on Max Verstappen. We're going to go around the outside at this chicane. Can we make the move done? Verstappen goes deep, but we can't get the move. Russell and I make contact. We then make contact with Max Verstappen. It is all kicking off on lap 22 here in Monza. Max Verstappen made an outrageous dive bomb, and I'm shocked that he hasn't got a penalty. Actually, I'm not shocked. It's on F122, but he should have got a penalty for that. He spun us around, but he takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but we're not having it. The very next lap, we're going to try and make a move back on Verstappen. We're still just right in his tail. We don't have DRS, remember, so we have to try and find the best point to make the move on the Red Bull. We need these points in the championship. This is absolutely crucial. George Russell is still within a shout in P3. Carlos Sainz only a couple seconds back in P4. Maybe Sainz can still get a podium as Verstappen goes wide. Verstappen locks up, goes wide. Russell's through on Verstappen as well. We're up into P1. George Russell into P2. And crucially, we've got that 1 second gap to Russell. It's 1.2, 1.3. Verstappen has bottled it with 5 laps to go. Carlos Sainz is closing on in on the Red Bull as well. Can Carlos Sainz make it a dream Ferrari weekend and make it a 1-2? Verstappen around the outside of George Russell. He's got it done. Verstappen's through on Russell. Can Verstappen close that gap to us now? It's a 1.5, 1.6 second gap, and we're using all of our ERS to stay out of it because we still have that DRS problem. So if he did get past us, it'll be very, very difficult to stay with him. And I tell you what, we're doing a fantastic job away from Verstappen, who's still ahead of Russell, but Russell in sights is chasing him down as Verstappen's going slow. Verstappen's got a problem. Verstappen is out of the Grand Prix at Monza. Sainz is on the podium. Verstappen's had a stinker. His engine's blown up. Oh, it is tragic for the Red Bull. 24 laps of tremendous racing, and he gets a DNF. That is what we like to see. That's going to be 25 points over the Red Bull. We're going to be right back in this championship battle. If we get fastest lap, that'll be 26 points. This is unbelievable as Sainz is fighting Lando Norris coming onto the final lap. We've pretty much won the Grand Prix unless we make a tragic mistake, but we are cruising. We're taking it easy. As the McLaren takes P3 away from Carlos Sainz, it's not going to be a double podium here in Monza unless Sainz can make a last lap overtake on Lando Norris, who has looked very quick over the previous races. And I tell you what, he is pushing him. Hamilton is pushing Sainz as well. But Norris has gone wide. Norris is into the gravel. Sainz is up in a P3. It's going to be a Ferrari double podium in Monza if Sainz can hold off Lewis Hamilton. But for us, it's going to be another Grand Prix win. It's going to be 3 wins in the last 5. Charles Leclerc comes home to take victory in Monza, and Carlos Sainz is going to hold off Lewis Hamilton to take P3. If there was one more lap, Hamilton would have got the move, but Sainz gets a podium for Ferrari. That is crucial for the constructors and for the drivers as well. Oh, this is an unbelievable weekend, and to top it off, it was in Monza in our home Grand Prix. The team are loving it. It's a P1 and P3. I think we got fastest lap, so I think it's a 7-point gap now to Max Verstappen, which is going to make it a feisty last few races. And the gap in the constructors has been chopped in half, probably even more, maybe 40-50 points from this Grand Prix. So you can see it's a P1 for us. George Russell taking P2 in the end, with Carlos Sainz just about holding off Lewis Hamilton. And you got Lando Norris bottling a podium on that final lap. He's bottled it big time there. So Lando Norris down in P5, but neither Red Bull scoring points. Perez was not able to make it up after that first lap incident. And you can see here, yeah, it is a 7-point gap to Max Verstappen in the championship with, I think it's either 5 or 6 races to go. We could still win this championship, and these are going to be some spicy races. You got Perez in P3, Carlos Sainz in P4, but we're looking at the constructors here, and it's a 30-point gap. We can still win the constructors as well. So the constructors and the drivers' championship is most definitely on for Ferrari. We can still do this. We can still change this season. If you're enjoying this series and you believe we can do it and win both championships, make sure you go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, comment what you think of the series, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.